Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to change the wheel bearings on a Zipp 77 or 77D hub. These are commonly fitted to Firecrest and Firestrike wheels, 303s, 404s, and the one I'm going to use today is an 808. The process is relatively straightforward. You only need a few small tools. I'll talk you through it. As far as tooling goes, we'll need a hammer with a soft face or a mallet, something like that. A can of penetrating fluid. A punch, or you could use a blind bearing puller, but this is more readily available, it's cheaper, and you're more likely to have it. You also need a bearing press. And these two bearing press spacers, and these are quite important. I'll put a link in the description to a couple of drawings so you can get these. Zipp do make these, but they're quite expensive. They're about €20, but you could probably make one from your local engineering shop for €4 or €5. Finally, the bearings. They are 6803s on the Zipp 77 hub, or 6903s if you've got the disc version, which is a 77D. Right, with the wheel removed from the bike, what I'd suggest you do is the day before you're going to do this job, get hold of some penetrating fluid and spray in here. I don't know if you can just see, there's a small line where the cap goes. So just spray a bit of penetrating fluid in there and on the other side and leave it overnight. This will help the day after to take these caps off. We need to remove the skewer. To do that, you just undo the nut on the end. Carefully withdraw it. Like that. Put these to one side, but don't lose them. Now we need this part to push these caps out. So put the skewer through and try and angle the skewer so it touches the cap, and you can just about see it's lifting the cap away. And it might just take a bit of Okay. Once you've got to that point, you can just pull it off like that. Put that down to one side. And we need to do the same on the other side. So this one's a bit easier because we've got a nice big hole to put the skewer through. So once again, angle it to one side and push. You can see it's just lifting. You might just have to go around the clock face slightly to lift that up. This side's a bit stiffer than the other one. Okay, that one's up and out. Okay, so you should have something that looks like that. So we need to take the axle out now, which is this bit here. I always think it's worthwhile to label which is the drive side and the non-drive side. So on my Continental tyre, there is actually a rotation mark on the tyre, but I've also put a small green dot. I'm going to put a small green dot on the inside of the axle so that I know which one the drive side is. So let's do that. So I've put a small mark. Now we need to knock this axle out. The axle is made of aluminium. There are a couple of ways of doing this. You could just hit that with a hammer and a block of wood in between, but where possible I don't like to use hammers, so we'll go for option number 2, which is a bit more restrained. So the second method is to use the press tool to press the bearings out. Now that is one of the press tools, and what I've done is I've wrapped the back of it in tape, and that's purely to protect the aluminium axle, which is relatively soft. This is mild steel. If you've got a plastic one or a nylon one, you could get away without using the tape, but I've put the tape on there to protect it. The other thing that you need is a socket. This one happens to be 32mm, and that socket is just going to sit on this face here. And again, I've wrapped that in tape so that it doesn't damage the wheel. So to assemble the press to get the bearing out, what we have to do is first of all thread the rod through. Then with the press tool facing, with the tape facing the inside of the wheel, thread that through. Then slide the socket over with the tape facing the side of the wheel, and thread the press on. Okay, let's turn the wheel around, put the other end on. Right, now it's fairly firm. You just need to check that this is centralised and it's not quite right. So I'm just going to get this centralised by undoing it, moving it, tightening it. And then as you tighten, you just feel the bearing go click, and that was it coming out. So tighten some more, and it's completely gone now. So I'm just going to back this off. Should have really backed the other side off, would have been faster. So let's do that. Pull the axle out. Sorry, pull the bearing press off. And you can see the axle's gone down slightly. The bearing's come out. So we can just push this through, and there's our axle and one bearing attached that's just come off. So just prior to pressing the bearings in, we need to make sure that the bearing seats are completely clean. So make sure you clean them well, inspect for any dirt, any damage, any burrs, anything like that. Okay, and do the other side to make sure. All right. Now I need to clean the axle as well. This one's already been cleaned, but just for the video I'll show you where to clean. It's this surface here where a bearing sits, and the other side as well. Okay, once you've done that, then you need to put one bearing onto one end of the axle. These are NTN bearings. It doesn't matter which way they go round. Now the Zipp bearings have the orange seal facing outwards, but if you're using replacement bearings, and I would strongly advocate the use of a branded bearing, then it doesn't matter. So just literally slide it over like that. So once the axle with one bearing is done, go back and find the green mark or whatever mark you put on the axle. In my case, it was on this side where the green mark is. I'm not sure the camera can make that out. and put that on the same side that you took out. Push this through so it's just sitting on the bearing landing like so. Okay, then go to the other side of the wheel and place the other bearing in the other side, just like that. Make sure the bearings have a bit of pressure in so that they're in the landing. Okay, then we need to reach for our press tool, like so. And I wish I had a few more hands. Get the press tool, thread it on so it looks like that. Push that through so it's just on the outer race of the bearing. Turn the wheel around. Get the other press tool and put it again on the outer race of the bearing. Thread the handle up. Now when you feel pressure, just stop and just check that you've got alignment, and I haven't. So we need to jiggery pokery it. This might be better done vertically actually. Okay. So I've got the bearing lined up, and now I'm literally going to turn and feel the bearing go in to the hole. So keep turning, turn it round and check the other side. Again, the alignment here is critical. So let's just have to improvise slightly. Okay, and then you should feel it bottom out. Once it's bottomed out, then you can take this out. And the bearings are pushed home. If there's any lateral play in the bearing, you need to reassemble the press and push it back in again. Right, so we've got that and that. So we're almost done. We need to put the caps back into the sides of the wheels, oh sorry, into the axles. So literally they just push on. Like that. Then get the skewer and make sure you put it through the right way. So spring, again push that on, and thread up. Things to note on this new bearing setup, it'll depend on which bearings you've got, but the grease inside the end-to-end bearings does seem to have a break-in period, so for about the first 20 kilometers it may feel a bit stiff. After that then it's fine. So that's the end of this video. If you found that useful, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, queries, anything like that, please use the comments below. I do have another video to show you how to change the bearings on a rear hub and the freewheel. Please check that out. Thank you.